Hi everybody, my name is Raymond Goslitsky and I'm co-founder and CEO of League of Linguists. We are an organisation that tries very hard to make your language more perfected, and one of the areas that we work with is language training. We also do translations, proofreading and editing, but these videos are out there. We're going to put them online very soon in order to help you understand how best to counter certain problems with the English language. The part one is going to be on confusing words. Let's have a look at some. Here we have some very similar ones. Continual, continuous, dissatisfied, unsatisfied, doubtful, dubious, stationary, stationary. Yeah, even the pronunciation of those last two is exactly the same. So how do we get around knowing the difference? Well, let's have a little look. Let's go through them one by one. So, what's the difference between continual and continuous? Have a think about it. I'll give you a second to pause. Okay. It means something which happens repeatedly, usually in an annoying or inconvenient way, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, which we use a lot. For example, we apologise for the continual interruptions to the schedule. Everything should return to normal by 8 AM tomorrow. In this case, it means that if there's an interruption, it's not something which goes on all the time. It happens very frequently. It's continual. Whereas continuous is without a pause or interruption. It really does mean non-stop. I would like to thank you for your continuous support. So how can we remember the difference between continual and continuous? Continuous ends in an S and support starts with an S. So if we think about it in this way, if you support somebody, it's usually in a permanent way or in a non-stop fashion. And think about continuous support. It ends with an S and begins with an S, which continual doesn't. That's one way of remembering it. Okay, let's move on. Dissatisfied and unsatisfied. This one confuses a lot of people, and I'll be honest with you, it's many of these words confuse Anglophones a lot too, and I think dissatisfied and unsatisfied also have a lot of responsibility for this. How to get around it? Well, dissatisfied means not pleased with something, feeling that something's not as good as it should be, the classic way, yeah? So the food at the restaurant was only partially warmed up and the staff seemed quite distant. If that was the case, I wouldn't stay either. So Greg was dissatisfied with the meal and the service and didn't leave a tip. He was more patient than I would be. Whereas unsatisfied has the idea of something is not good enough. Or is just something's lacking, yeah? So, although they won 2-1, the coach was unsatisfied with the performance. It could be the fact that they let in the sloppy goal, it could be that they should have won by more goals maybe, or that their passing wasn't up to scratch, or they let the opposition in too much. Something which the coach was unsatisfied with. Right. And we have some collocations that go with unsatisfied, and this is one way how to remember how to use unsatisfied, because it doesn't sound right using dissatisfied with these. So we have an unsatisfied desire, an unsatisfied curiosity, an unsatisfied demand. We would never use dissatisfied with these, and an Anglophone would definitely know that as well. So if something is an unsatisfied desire, it means you wanted something so badly but didn't feel right, or didn't totally happen for you. An unsatisfied curiosity, you really want to know, you're intrigued by something but you never found out the entire story. An unsatisfied curiosity. Cheers, I need some vodka, water, sorry. Really, it's water, promise you. Unsatisfied demand. You wanted something and you ordered it and it came through and you just felt something was not totally there. It's an unsatisfied demand. But if you use a dissatisfied demand, it just doesn't sound right. You can hear it. It's another thing. Use your instinct a lot to remember things. Okay, moving on. Doubtful v dubious. This is not such a difficult one to remember. Doubtful, of course, means it's unlikely to happen or be successful. Can also mean that you're uncertain about the wisdom or suitability of a possible situation or plan. So we can see it in various ways. The Prime Minister is taking a trip to Belgium, but a visit to the European Commission is doubtful. In this way, you have the idea that probably the Prime Minister won't go to the Commission. Or this one. The scores were above average, but it's doubtful whether the whole class passed their exams. No. Unlikely. Improbable. Whereas dubious has more of a, let's say, louche meaning. There's a nice word for you, louche. Thought not to be completely true, or even trusted. Yeah? The organisation's dubious financial record makes it harder to trust their annual reports. They have helped support some rather dubious politicians over the years. We can feel it in this one. Doubtful has more, you doubt something, whereas dubious is like, yeah. So that can be explained in that way. But here's a tricky one. Stationary and stationary. This is one which a lot of Anglophones get wrong. Justified in many cases, but there is a way around how we can remember them. So, stationary with ARY means not moving or not changing. Very simply, the traffic remained stationary for the best part of 10 minutes, so it didn't move. We can also use this in an abstract way. The value of the euro against the dollar has been stationary for several days. This is not something physical, it's in the abstract world, but it gives you an idea. Yes? It's not moving, it's intransigent. With stationary ERY, there are things that are needed for writing, such as paper, pens, pencils, and envelopes. How can we tell the difference? Well, it's quite simple, and we'll see it in a minute. So the stationery is located in the cabinet by the kitchen. Let's have a look at the difference, shall we? Between ARY and ERY endings. So stationary, as in not moving, is an adjective, as are words like extraordinary, secondary, dictionary, visionary, and military. Yes, dictionary is an adjective, although it's been nominalised, it's been turned into a noun. It has, these all have adjectival qualities. And this goes in French too. So, and they also have an A in there. Air, so extraordinaire, secondaire, dictionnaire, visionnaire, militaire. Directly out of French. And of course, this is the same as in Spanish. Extraordinario, secundario, diccionario, visionario, militario. There's no excuse for not being able to see that. If you speak French or Spanish, or indeed Italian, or probably Romanian, Catalan, or those other Latin languages. On the other side, the ERY, these are nouns. And ERY is generally one of two things. It's either a place you go to get something, or it is a pastime of some kind, something, an action that you perform in terms of a hobby or something you like doing afterwards. So after work, distillery, for example, is a place you go and get drunk, or pick up stuff in order to do it somewhere else. And in French, distillerie, embroidery, broderie, lottery, loterie. Gallery, galerie, periphery. So these are all things, and this is the same, for example. Boucherie is a butchery, but we wouldn't say that. But boulangerie, bakery, those types of things. And of course, it doesn't always work. This is not a watertight thing, but in terms of these words, they fit really, really well. But don't be fooled that it's a 100% watertight method. It's not. There are, of course, a lot of exceptions which don't have any bearing on it, but the ones which do will give you a clue how to recognise stationary and stationary. Okay, so here in the last one we have slippery, is glissant. Misery, misère. Query is a question, and thundery, of course, is orageux, and they have nothing to do with it. And ERY, thundery, is actually an adjective as well. So it's not a watertight thing, but those ones which do fit will give you some idea of remembering the difference between stationary ARY, stationary ERY. Okay, well, thank you ever so much for watching. We're of the League of Linguists. You can email us on info@lowlinguists.com, or you can like, comment, or share on any of our online places, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we're under Low Linguists. You can find us there. You're welcome to join us, and we will be posting many more videos as the future rolls forward. Thank you ever so much. Cheerio.